good evening everyone, and thanks so much for coming along tonight. Thanks to our president of NAPTA as well, Gloria, for having this forum here in Nanango. I guess the million-dollar question for me as the surprise candidate who came into the election process is, why did I stand up and want to be counted for mayor? And there's three reasons because of that. So when I looked at who I am and how I feel about the region, I thought, well, I'm fresh, I'm enthusiastic, and I'm dedicated to the South Burnett. The second part to my decision was, the last 3 years I've worked in the office of the mayor, and although I've seen the region through someone else's glasses, and I acknowledge that, what I have been given is really good insight into what the office of the mayor needs to deliver, where the gaps are, and also the troubles that we have in getting some of the issues back through the organisation. The third reason I decided to stand up and be counted for mayor is because I couldn't sit down any longer. I look at our region in 20 years' time, and that's where our focus is, because we'll be losing one of our biggest industries, and we can't afford to not be planning for that now. You guys are living here and hope to live for that period of time into the future, and I know my family certainly does. So I wanted to make sure that from council's point of view, we were looking that far into the future, and we were planning for when that occurs, and that really starts with now. Something else that I've been asked in the last couple of weeks that I just wanted to clarify is, does council really have the opportunity to make change? And I'm here to tell you it absolutely does. And if it didn't, then this democratic process wouldn't work. But I can tell you from an officer in the background that there are times where I wish that our council had put down some real directions so we could take hold of them and push them into the future. When I look at how council works, there's a couple of plans that actually govern the operations of council, and that's where you can make the most change and force the organisation to do exactly as you say. The concern about those two plans, however, is that the third plan that should be included in all of our processes and in our planning is the Community Plan 2012. And a couple of years ago, when it was deregulated, it was thrown out the door, and that was your opinion. And it doesn't count in council anymore. And from my point of view and looking forward where council needs to be, the problem that we will struggle with into the future is if we're not looking at what the community needs and reflecting how we're going to get there and putting that into the organisation instead of making our organisation deliver better, then we've really got a problem. So moving on from there, the two things that I really want to make change in the next 4 years are really key to how council can move forward. The first one of those is communication. And I look at some of the projects that we've undertaken over the last couple of years, and my personal opinion is some of those could have potentially failed, but if we had communicated better, we would have got better outcomes. And by communication, I mean that's incoming advice from our community, making sure that our community engagement strategy is proper and correct, and counting everybody and what they say and documenting it, and then understanding what's going on and putting it into some kind of council process. But even further than that, it's about communicating back to the community, and that's another area that we've really struggled in. Moving on from communication is roads. And they really mix hand in hand. And I know that there are a couple of questions, and I won't touch on some of the other things that I have the opportunity to answer in that forum. But when I look at roads, there is a substantial amount of money that is spent in this area. But when I ask people what they think about our roads process and has their road been looked after, the answer that I get is no, it hasn't. And then I say, well, do you know when your road's going to be done? And the answer is still no. And I can tell you, as a staff member, when I get that inquiry and ask the question as well, the answer's still sorry, we're afraid to give the answer out. And I go, okay, afraid to give the answer out, well, can you give me a timeline? And the answer's still no. And that is something and a direct direction that council can be making and changing and influencing into the future. So what you need is a mayor who knows to be able to work the insides, the key to the doors, to make sure that that strategy and planning is correct. So what you guys want is being put through to council, and we're delivering objectives right into the future.